The latest step in the process that will lead to a new arena strategy for St. Catharines took place recently at the Port Weller Community Centre. Residents came out to give their input on the recently released draft document before it's tabled at City Council.
We thought that the best way to do it was to do this study. We've hired a third-party consultant, Monteith Brown. They also did our rec master plan a few years ago. So they became really familiar with the community, with the ICE users group in general. They came back and they've sought the feedback of the community to tell us, one, is there a need for ICE? The answer absolutely is yes. How many arenas do we need? And that's what we're working on through the strategy.
How satisfied are you with the level of engagement from the citizens of St. Catharines as you've gone through the process?
We're very satisfied. We had a very good participation in the online survey. People are still trickling in right now to this session here. We had lots of comments online. We received emails. We've received feedback directly to our staff.
The majority of those in attendance were from the volleyball community. They have been monitoring how a new strategy could impact their current setup at Rex Steimer's arena.
Essentially, we want to make sure that we show that there is still a use for the facility, that even though it can't be used for an ice sport, it can still be used, it can still be repurposed for another sport.
What's been the response to users since you essentially flipped the rink into a volleyball facility?
Our volleyball players are super happy with the facility. We love it for the space is essentially the perfect size for volleyball. We have the exact dimensions that we need, enough space around all the outsides of the courts. We have the right height in the ceilings that we need to play volleyball as well. So pretty much everything that we need in a volleyball facility is there.
St. Catharines currently operates 5 arenas that total 9 ice packs. The strategy will take a detailed look at each site as well as usage trends to come up with a plan for the future.
Well, I think we want to make sure that all of the stakeholders and all of the user groups are served well. So we want to make sure that we still have ice time for them. Cost is always a very big factor. Potential relationships or partnerships with other stakeholders. I think that would be something that's very important. And I always want to keep my community front and center. What is best for the greater good of our community and the surrounding communities? So I think those are some of the questions that are going to be answered, and I'm sure there's going to be a very comprehensive review of all of the buildings, the arenas. The newer ones down to the older ones. Cost is always a big one. Cost and demand, right? At
the end of this process, will City Council be faced with some big decisions?
Council will be faced with some decisions, yes, because the report talks about a few options. The report talks about a couple of scenarios related to if there's growth in population and if there's growth in participation. That's one option. The other scenario, or the other option, is if there's no growth in population and there's little growth in participation. So we'll have to kind of figure that out as we go along. And then the third sort of thing to add to that layer is the possibility of a facility related to the Canada Games, the Canada Summer Games. And so, when you bundle all those things together, and maybe if I can add a fourth layer to that, again, going back to the aging infrastructure that we have, do we spend money to repair or replace an old arena, or do we invest in a new arena that will last now another 40 and 50 years?
It's not too late to give your input. Deadline for submissions is May 13th. In Niagara, you're watching The Source.